Hi, Betsy. Oh, I think you've used Skype before, haven't you? Hi, good evening or good morning or whatever it is for you. Good day. David Dilling from Markzware, and today we have another Markzware customer, Betsy Perry from Tulsa, Oklahoma, correct, Betsy?
Yes, sir.
All right, so without any further ado, let's throw it right over to Betsy, and she can tell us more about herself. Betsy.
Hi, David.
Hi.
About me. Well, I've been doing this a long, long time. I don't mind telling people my age. I'm 67, and I'm a single person entity today. I started out as a copywriter in 1980 and then a creative director. And as soon as Macs came out and all the designers got Macs in their offices, I kept sneaking into their offices and playing with their Macs. And that's really when I got started with design and layout too. So today I do both of those things. I work part-time for I worked for several agencies in town, but then I started my own freelance business in 1992. And today I work part-time for a nonprofit here in Tulsa called Choregus Productions. And I do everything for a whole lot of things for them, including their marketing, graphics, and some writing. But all my evenings and weekends, I'm still a freelancer. So.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, once a freelancer, always a freelancer at heart, right? So.
Well,
exactly. I just have to say it. You know, you look great for 67. I mean, that's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's about, you have to tell us about that in another video anyway. Okay, so maybe you can give us a little more detail about the software you use on a daily basis, your workflow, so to speak, you know? Well,
because I got started so many years ago and at the beginning of Macs and everything, I used Quark. Because that's basically all there was available back then.
Right.
And I was a dyed-in-the-wool Quark user. I used it for everything, business, personal, all kinds of things, along with Photoshop and Illustrator and all the others. And then eventually the industry started kind of nudging everybody towards InDesign. And I resisted as long as I could, but eventually I made the switch to InDesign, and of course I love it just like everybody else does now, the whole suite. And but I still got Quark documents on my computer here. So.
Yeah. So now we'll jump into the Markzware side, because obviously you made like one customer interview said David in Massachusetts said he made the great migration. You know, you had used Quark in the past and.
Yes, of course, we made the big migration, and you know we've been buying Markzware
like everybody else. I thought that was great, you know.
And that's kind of that's exactly what happens. And again, it's not just, I mean, yeah, business. You get a client who calls you and says, remember that such and such we did, and then they name some years before. And yes, I have everything archived. I've lost very few things to technical problems over the years.
Right.
And so, or maybe it's in the client's name, maybe doesn't even request it. I just need to look at something that's back there. I need to grab a portion of something. That happens a lot.
Right.
So I need to open the document, and I don't want to have Quark on my computer in order to have access to those documents. So.
Right. And how did you learn about Markzware?
You know, I don't remember. It's been a while, but I'm gonna take a guess. I think this is pretty sure thing. Is that I probably was doing exactly that. I was probably trying to find something on my computer, and client probably called and said, I want to update such and such, and it was still in Quark, and I thought I need to start moving this back over to InDesign, and I'm sure I did a Google search and said, what are my options? You know?
Okay, so with Q2ID, we do not have a demo version. You know, we actually live off of these sort of testimonials, word of mouth. Can you tell a user how does Q2ID work? The whole process.
First of all, you have to get used to the fact that you can't just find the document on your drive and double click it. If it's a Quark document, you have to go through InDesign in order to do that. Okay, you just have to get used to that. That's no big deal. And here, I'm not getting paid to do this, but I'll be really honest with you. I expected to have a lot of little glitches and things when I would do the transition from Quark to InDesign, and I was really surprised at how few problems were there.
Wow.
when I would convert a document. I mean, yeah, there's fonts. You have to deal with the fonts and things like that, but I've been really surprised. I have this one document that's it's basically a to-do list, but I've been using it for years. It's something I developed myself, and I started it back when I was using Quark. And it's multiple pages because it includes notes about personal projects and things like that. And I thought, boy, when I convert that, it's going to be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, once I got the fonts brought in like I needed to with InDesign, it was really a piece of cake.
Awesome. Yeah. That's one of the typical problems is fonts. You need to have the fonts, or it's best to have the fonts, that were used in the original file.
Right.
And if you don't, you have to substitute for the best, second best, and that can cause some issues. You'll have to go through and touch that up, So I guess the next question is pretty redundant then. Would you recommend Q2ID for other users?
I absolutely. This is an easy question. It has helped me. It's still helping me. And again, it's not just client documents that I'm talking about and business stuff. I mean, I used to put my recipes on Quark documents, and so now when I want to go back and look at an old recipe, hey, I've got something to open.
Wow. And Q2ID is a subscription. Now, why do you keep renewing it year after year?
Well, there'll probably come a time when I feel like it's not going to be that much needed anymore. But right now, I still am turning to it, at least, 2 or 3 times a week.
Wow.
And as I said, it's not just business, it's also personal. I have some personal documents on my computer that I go back to occasionally. So I'm holding on to it. And honestly, when I first looked into it, I thought, well, that sounds like an awful lot of money, but no, not really. I mean, my alternative is recreating or looking at a PDF that's way old and it's not going to do me any good. So it's definitely worth it.
Awesome. Well, that's great, Betsy. I mean, really, thank you for sharing your experiences on Q2ID, Quark to InDesign conversion filter from Markzware. I'm glad it's worked really well for you and that you are a continued happy customer. What I'm going to do now is show people over here in Chrome where they can find you on LinkedIn. And there you can see her freelance business, Perrycreative, Inc., and you can read more about it there. But what do you offer exactly, Betsy?
Well, since I told you my age in the beginning, we could talk about how long I've been doing this.
You have experience.
I've picked up a few little tricks here and there. Yes, that many years. But mainly, one of the things that's so unique is that I'm a copywriter and a designer, and so I'm not working in my own little bubble in either one of those. I'm working with a client for both those areas, and as a matter of fact, people have a hard time understanding that because there are very few people who do both of those things.
Yeah.
So a lot of clients will hire me as a designer, and then they forget about asking me to write something, or vice versa. So I actually have to kind of get people used to that idea. And it's not that I don't work with other writers or work with other designers on projects too, but
right.
But that's a very unique thing. And the other thing is, I'm not a diva. I'm just not. This is the client's business and their product, and I'm going to do my best to try to talk them into the right thing. But it's always their decision in the end. So
I think it's a great mix. I know we're working on flyers and brochures. The copyright, copyright's another thing, but getting the copy and then the layout and designer, it's sometimes a big hassle. So if you have someone that can do both,
it is.
Well, you can give your email. How can people email you for more information?
My email has been the same since the beginning of time because that's how long I've been around, the beginning of the internet. My email is lucky1313@cox.net.
Excellent. So that's where people get more information if you're in the Oklahoma area, or I guess you'll take work anywhere in the U.S.
Absolutely.
No, thank you again, Betsy. Pleasure, and yeah, have a great day.
Thank you, David.